Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley and this is another bookish video. Hello friends, so in the month of September, I will be participating in a really fun readathon that was created by Mel from Eleanor Reads, and that is Battlethon. And if you want more information about it, I will leave her channel link below, and she has the introduction video and where she explains everything, announcement video where she explains everything about it. But it's basically a readathon, it's team based, and it's basically a readathon where you get points based off of your star rating. So you get the most points if it's a 5-star, and then the least points if it's a 1-star. And I don't think you get any points if it's a DNF, or you get very little points. If it's if you read over 50%, you get very little points. But it is a very fun readathon, and it's team-based. I am on Team Red, which are the co-hosts are Lexi from Books with Lexi and Cassidy from Covers with Cassidy. So yeah, very excited to be participating in this readathon. But with that being said, since it is a readathon based off of your star rating, and the most you get the most points with 5 stars, I thought this would be a perfect time to do a 5-star prediction video. So yeah, I have about 20 books I think that I want to talk about. So we are gonna go ahead and get started. I have a mix of different genres, a mix of the top 3 genres I read, which is fantasy, romance, contemporary romance, and thrillers and mysteries. But yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with my predictions. Okay, so the first book that I'm going to show you guys is actually perfect to read for the readathon in September. Because it is the readathon is kind of loosely based off of this book, because it is kind of dragon themed. And I have been pushing this book off for so long, but I have purposely pushed it off. I've been wanting to read it for a while, since it came out. But I've been pushing it off for September, and it is definitely a 5-star prediction because of all the high praise it is getting. And it has all the tropes I love, which is enemies to lovers. It's dragons, which I love. And yeah, it's a romance. So, and I love all of it, and I some of the things I've heard about it is something some of the stuff that people have said about it are buzzwords to me, which make me think I will love it. So I hope I'm right with this. But obviously, let me show you. I'm talking about Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. So yeah, this book has broken the internet. It's everywhere, and is very sought after, especially the very the dragon edges. So yeah, I've had this since it released, and I kept pushing it off because I was in a reading slump, and since I was in that reading slump, I didn't want to read this and then not love it because of the reading slump I was in. But it is still a 5-star prediction. I am hoping I love it because it does have some of the tropes that I love. But I have heard it is kind of trope heavy. But yeah, I'm very excited to read this. And it is definitely definitely a 5-star prediction. All right. The next book I have is Say You Swear by Megan Brandy. And this is a sports college romance. I'm not sure. I think it is like a second chance romance. With I think a little bit of a love triangle. I'm not too sure. But it sounds like it'll be really good, and I have heard really good things about it. So I have high hopes for it. Because it just sounds like something that I will love, and it sounds like it's like kind of similar to like other books I like, romance books I love. So yeah, it's like a romance, and it's a like football romance. So I think if I do end up reading it, it'll be perfect if I get to it in September or even like October. But yeah, this is definitely a 5-star prediction, and I'm very excited to get to this soon. Next up, I have Scarred by Emily McIntyre. I read Hooked by this author like a couple of months ago, and I loved it. It was like I was surprised with how much I like ended up loving it. But it is like it's like loosely based off of like Peter Pan and like Hook from like Peter Pan. It is not like a direct like retelling of it. It's not a fairy tale retelling. It is a like dark romance. But I loved it, gave it 5 stars. So I have very high hopes for the sequel, Scarred, which this is loosely like based off of like the characters of The Lion King. And it is another like dark romance. And I have heard that this one has like more like talks about politics more. Because yeah, it like has like there's like the two sons, obviously like the Lion King, like the two brothers. But yeah, I am definitely very excited to get to this one since I loved Hook so much. So yeah, this is definitely a 5-star prediction. Next up, I have sequels that I have been pushing off. I have no idea why I haven't picked these up yet. I actually have picked up one of them, and that is Scorch Roses. But I put it down because I was in like that reading slump, and I didn't want to end up not liking it because of that. But I am gonna read it, and it is still a 5-star prediction for me. That's Scorch Roses, which is like the novella like in between the Serpent and the Wings of Night, and then this one, which is also a 5-star prediction since I loved the first book so much. And I've heard so much good things about this series, and like the sequel, like everybody loved the sequel as well. So yeah, I definitely think that I will love it since I love the first book so much. I just have to get to it. So yeah, maybe I will read it next month, but we will see. But yeah, these have been on my, like, I've been wanting to read these since I read the first book. I just have been putting them off. But yeah, I am very excited to get to these, and these are definitely 5 stars. The next book I have is Blood Mercy by Vila Roth. This is a like vampire paranormal fantasy romance. And I've been hearing a lot of good things about this series. So I am very excited to like get to it, and I definitely have high hopes for it, and I do think it will be a 5-star since like it just looks like something that I will love or hopefully love. Because it is like it has like vampires, which I love, fantasy romance. But that's all I really know about it. It's Fated Mates, which I also love. So yeah, definitely excited to get to this, and I definitely have high hopes that this will be a 5-star read for me. Next up, I have 2 books by Caroline Peckman and Suzanne Valenti. The first one is A Game of Malice and Greed, and then I have the 8th Zodiac Academy, Sorrow and Starlight. This one is a 5-star prediction because I love the rest of this series. I have just been pushing this off because it is a chunky book. And yeah, I just haven't been in the mood to like read this big of books like recently, but I am still excited to get to it. I need to get to it before the 9th book comes out. But yeah, I definitely think that I will love this. I am hoping I love it. I'm trying not to have too high of hopes, but I like really do think that I will love this. If you don't know what the Zodiac Academy series is about, it's 2 like sisters. They like realize that they are like on like, or they like inherit like their like the throne in this like fantasy like world. So it is like kind of like, or like they like are brought into this like fantasy world, like, and brought into this like fantasy like academy, and are trained so that and then they like meet these like other like the boys from this academy that are also in line to like the throne. And they're like, there's like some bullying in the first, like it's like it starts out as like bully romance in like the first couple books, but it gets so much more than that. Like it gets so much better as you read the books. Like I just love this series, and I cannot wait to get to this 8th book, and I really hope it is a 5-star. And then A Game of Malice and Greed is their newest fantasy like romance series that they just released this year. I don't know too much about it. But it sounds like it'll be something I love, and it also is by the same authors as the Zodiac Academy series. So I do have high hopes that I will love it. And I am very hopeful that it will be a 5-star. Okay, the next book I have is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. And I think this will be 5 stars because 1, I've heard like nothing but good things about this book, and 2, it has one of my favorite like romance tropes, and that is like enemies to lovers, rivals to lovers. So yeah, definitely think I will love this. At least I'm very hopeful that I will love it. I think it follows 2 young rival like journalists. And then it says, when 2 young rival journalists find love through a magical connection, they must face the depths of hell in a war between gods to seal their fate forever. So that like little blurb sounds like amazing. So yeah, I am definitely very excited to get to this one, and I am very hopeful that it will be 5 stars. Next up, I have another fantasy romance book, and that is Slaying the Shadow Prince by Helen Shure. This is a enemies to lovers romance, fantasy romance, and it's being compared, or it says it's perfect for fans of A Court of Silver Flames, which I loved. It's one of my favorite books of that series. And so yeah, I immediately saw that and knew that I would love this book, and I had to pick it up. So yeah, very hopeful that I will love this. Again, it has my favorite romance trope, enemies to lovers, and I tend to love those types of stories. So yeah, very hopeful that I will love this. This is the like part of like the connecting like standalones. They were there's like a different author for each book. But I think they're all in the same world. Please correct me if I'm wrong about that. But yeah, it's all like Slaying the Shadow. There's Slaying the Shadow Prince, and then I think the one that the author of Carissa Broadbent wrote one as well. I think it's Slaying the Vampire Conqueror, which I still need to read as well. But that is also one that I'm very hopeful that I will love. But I wanted to mention this because it has my favorite trope. Actually, I think the other one does too. But anyway, this one I'm very hopeful because it was compared to Silver Flames. So yeah, definitely hope this will be 5 stars. Okay, the next book I have is Not Katya by Carrie Lake. This is a dark academia, like romance, dark romance, and it takes place on this college campus, and I think it is a like student teacher romance. But yeah, I am definitely very excited to get to this one, and I love this cover. It is definitely perfect for like spooky season. But yeah, I have very high hopes for this one because it just sounds like it'll be amazing, and like mysterious and just fun to read. Like it says it's a little bit of paranormal romance, and yeah, I love like dark romance. I've been like loving dark romance recently. So yeah, I am definitely hopeful that this will be 5 stars. It has some of the tropes I love. Especially there's one, it says there's morally gray like characters in it. So yeah, definitely excited to get to this one and very hopeful that it'll be 5 stars. Next 5-star prediction I have is Tethered by Elena R. Gallia. This is another vampire romance that I am very excited to get to this, and it's an arranged marriage vampire romance, which that arranged marriage is also one of my favorite like romance tropes. Because like they kind of like start out as like basically like most of the arranged marriage like books I've read have like they started like hating each other, which like goes back to me loving like the enemies to lovers romance trope. So I'm not sure if that's how this will be, but it's a vampire romance, which I love. So I'm very hopeful that I will love this book as well, and that it'll be 5 stars. Right, so the next 2 books I have are like part of my favorite series like of all time, and that is A Soul of Ash and Blood and A Light in the Flame. This is the latest book in the From Blood and Ash series, and I've been I've been waiting for this book since like she like first started talking about it. This is in like the main, like I don't want to give spoilers, so I'm not gonna say like really names right now, because it could be a spoiler. But this follows the main male point of views, like his point of view, which and then it also goes back to like his point of view from the first book as well, which I am very excited. But like it goes back and forth, like it continues the story, but it also goes back to like the first book as well, and like you get inside his head during that first book, which I'm very excited to read about. I know some people, this hasn't had like the greatest reviews, I don't think. I just haven't heard too much buzz about it lately since it came out, but I'm excited because this is my like all-time favorite series, and it was one of my most anticipated books of the year, and yeah, I'm very hopeful that this will be 5 stars. And then this is part of the like prequel like series in the same world as the From Blood and Ash series. This is the second book in that series, and I've been pushing this off for so long. I don't know why I've been pushing it off. I just need to get to it because I know I'm gonna love it because I love the first book, and I don't have any excuses on why I haven't gotten to this book yet. But yeah, I definitely will get to these soon, and I'm of course very hopeful that these will both be 5 stars. Okay, next up, this is totally on the opposite like spectrum of fantasy romance, but that is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I definitely am very excited to read this, and I have definitely been pushing it off, like I have done for a lot of books. But I think this will be 5 stars because I loved The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, gave that 5 stars. And I did like Malibu Rising. Not as much as Evelyn Hugo, but I still enjoyed both of those books. And I am very hopeful that I will love this one. I've heard that this one is one of like the favorites amongst like readers. I don't see as much love for, like, I saw a lot of love for this when the like TV show came out, but I've seen a lot more hype for Evelyn Hugo than I do this one. But when the TV, like, I've heard really good things about the TV show, so I really need to get to this one, and I am very hopeful that this will be a 5 star because it just sounds like something I love, and it's in it's in interview format, so I think I will listen to the audiobook so that my like reading experience is like enhanced and better, because I have heard that the audiobook just makes it a lot better. So yeah, definitely excited to get to this one and very hopeful that I will love it. Next up, I have The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. I recently read Alone with You in the Ether and gave that 5 stars, and it's probably gonna be going on my like favorite books of the year. It'll definitely be on there. I don't know if it'll be my favorite, but we will see. But yeah, I am very excited to get to this one. I've been pushing it off for too long. I also have the sequel that I need to read, and then I know the 3rd book comes out, I think, like the beginning of next year. So yeah, I really need to get to this series. I know it's like I think it'll be perfect for fall time because it takes place at this like college campus. I think it's like dark academia. I think there's fantasy in it. But I am not 100% sure. But yeah, I am very excited to get to this one, and I am definitely very hopeful I will love it since I did love Alone with You in the Ether. So yeah, very hopeful for this one, and I hope it is 5 stars. Next up, I have A Perilous Undertaking by Deanna Raybourn. This is the 2nd book in the Veronica Speedwell mystery series. I read Curious Beginning last year and loved it. I didn't give it 5 stars, but I still enjoyed it. It was a really good time, and I have heard that the series gets better as you read them. So since I did still love that book, I am very hopeful that this will be 5 stars, and it is a 5-star prediction for me because I just love Stoker and Veronica, like their like banter and relationship. Like I just love it, and yeah, very excited to continue on with this series. And yeah, I just really need to get to this, and I'm very hopeful that I will love it. Next up, I have a contemporary romance that has been on my TBR for way too long, and that is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. You would think that me being like a big fan of Enemies to Lovers, I would have read this already, but I haven't. I don't know why I haven't read it yet. It's been sitting on my TBR for so long. But yeah, I definitely want to read it. And I'm very hopeful that I will love it since it is like the enemies, rivals to lovers trope that I love. And then there is also a movie now, so I want to get to it so I can watch the movie. But yeah, I am very excited to read this and very hopeful about it. Next up, I have In My Dreams, I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. This is another like dark academia, like college thriller. And I've heard so many good things about this, and it just sounds like it's something that I will love. I heard it is dark, like it's dark. But yeah, it's takes place on a college campus, I think, and it's like there's these 6 friends that went to this college together, and then there's like they have like a reunion, and then about something that and like they talk about something that happened, I think, like all those years ago when they were in college. and then like about something that happened. I'm not entirely sure. I like going into my thrillers blind, but it just looks like something that I will end up loving. So yeah, very hopeful that it will be 5 stars. Next up, I have another thriller, but I've been pushing this one off for so long. I've had this on my TBR since, let's see, 2021. And that is The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. I have read The Silent Patient, like, I read that when it first came out in, like, 2019 and loved it. That was actually, fun fact, my first thriller I have ever, like, adult thriller I ever read. And it, like, definitely got me into wanting to read more, like, of the thriller genre. So that book has a very special place, like, in my heart, because it was the book that got me into reading thrillers. So yeah, I'm very hopeful that I will love this one. I know this one isn't as loved as the first book, but I'm still very hopeful that I will love it, and maybe I will get to it in September because it is also another like dark academia kind of like thriller. So yeah, very hopeful that I will love it. Hopefully I love it as much as The Silent Patient, but we will see. And yeah, it is definitely still on a 5-star prediction for me. Okay, we made it to the last book I have that I want to show you today. And that is Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. I read Rock, Paper, Scissors by this author, and I loved it. That is probably one of my favorite thrillers of all time. So yeah, I'm very excited to get to this one. I don't know why I've been pushing it off. I've had it since released. Like, I got it as a book of the month pick when it was released. So yeah, I am very excited to get to this one. I don't know why I've been pushing it off, and I'm very hopeful that I will love it as much as I loved Rock, Paper, Scissors. Okay, so those were all of my 5-star predictions that I wanted to show you today. I probably have a lot more like books that I like am hoping to love. I mean, honestly, I hope I love like every book I read, but these are all the ones that like fit like genres I love, tropes I love, like, and like just things in general. They like have like they hit the like everything else that I like love in books, and also like authors. Like if I like put them on here because I loved a previous author's like book, so I'm very hopeful about the next book. So yeah, definitely very excited to read all of those. Maybe you will see some of them being read in September for the readathon. Again, I will leave her Mel's channel linked below. So if you don't already know about the readathon, you can go ahead and click on her channel and look up the announcement video for that. But yeah, I am very excited to get to all these, and I want to thank you all for watching this video, and I hope you please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you want to, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.